Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into the history of one of the most iconic and feared weapons of the Second World War, the German 88mm cannon. You might think of it as just an anti-aircraft gun, but its story is far more complex and its impact on the battlefield was absolutely legendary. How did a weapon designed to shoot down planes become the terror of tank crews from the deserts of North Africa to the frozen steppes of the Eastern Front? Let's find out. Our story begins in the early 1930s, a time when Germany was secretly rearming, defying the restrictions of the Treaty of Versailles. Engineers at the renowned Krupp Company were tasked with a critical mission: develop a powerful new anti-aircraft gun, or Flak, as the Germans called it, capable of reaching high-flying enemy bombers. The result was the the AT-8. This gun was a marvel of engineering for its time. It could fire timed explosive shells that would detonate at a preset altitude, filling the sky with deadly shrapnel. But what made the 88 truly special was its versatility. Mounted on a cross-shaped carriage, it had an incredible range of motion, able to aim from 3 degrees below horizontal all the way up to 85 degrees. This meant it could engage targets on the ground just as easily as those in the air. Despite weighing a hefty 7 tons, it was surprisingly mobile for its size. A well-trained crew of about 10 men could have it unhitched from its tow vehicle and ready to fire in under 3 minutes, a crucial advantage in the fast-paced warfare of the era. The AT-8 first tasted combat not in Germany, but during the Spanish Civil War. Sent as part of Germany's Condor Legion to support Franco's forces, it quickly proved its worth. It excelled at its primary role, shooting down aircraft, but its operators soon discovered its devastating potential against ground targets. It obliterated enemy bunkers and fortifications with ease. Most significantly, it proved to be a frighteningly effective anti-tank weapon, a role it was never originally intended for. This experience in Spain was a chilling preview of the havoc it would wreak across Europe just a few years later. When World War II began, the 88 was deployed in its anti-aircraft role. However, it was during the Battle of France in 1940 that its anti-tank capabilities were truly put to the test on a larger scale. Allied tanks, like the heavily armored French Char B-1 and the British Matilda II, were often immune to standard German anti-tank guns. In moments of desperation, German commanders turned their 88s on the advancing armor. The results were shocking. The high-velocity shell from the 88 could slice through the thickest Allied armor like a hot knife through butter. But it was in the vast, open deserts of North Africa that the 88 truly became a legend. Under the command of the brilliant tactician Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, the 88 became the cornerstone of his Afrika Korps defensive strategy. Rommel would use his tanks to lure British armor into carefully prepared ambushes, right into the sights of hidden 88s. The flat terrain and long lines of sight were perfect for the gun. British tank crews, charging forward, would suddenly find their tanks erupting in flames from an unseen enemy, often firing from over a mile away. The psychological impact was immense, earning the gun the dreaded nickname 88. The fear of 88s was a constant presence for Allied tankers in the Desert Campaign. The gun's performance was simply astounding. Its powerful projectile could penetrate over 100 millimeters of steel armor from a distance of 2 kilometers. For most of the war, no Allied tank could withstand a direct hit from an 88. This reputation for long-range lethality continued on the brutal Eastern Front, against the seemingly endless waves of Soviet T-34 and KV tanks. The 88 was often the only reliable defense German infantry had. A few well-placed 88s could halt an entire armored assault in its tracks, turning breakthrough attempts into fiery graveyards of Soviet steel. Its effectiveness was undeniable, making it one of the most respected and feared artillery pieces of the entire war. Given its incredible success, it was only a matter of time before German engineers decided to put this phenomenal gun on a chassis of its own. The power of the 88 was integrated into some of Germany's most famous armored fighting vehicles. The most legendary of these was, of course, the Panzer VI, the Tiger I tank. The Tiger's main armament was a modified version of the 88, which gave it the ability to dominate the battlefield, destroying enemy tanks long before they could get close enough to return fire. The AT-8 was also the heart of formidable tank destroyers like the Nashorn and the colossal Ferdinand, later renamed the Elephant. These vehicles were essentially mobile platforms designed to carry the 88 and hunt down enemy armor from a safe distance. Behind the gun, however, was a human story that is often overlooked. As the war progressed and Germany's situation became more desperate, the manpower for the Luftwaffe's vast anti-aircraft forces was stretched to its absolute limit. Over 1 million people served in these units. The crews were no longer just professional soldiers. They included elderly men, wounded veterans deemed unfit for frontline service, and towards the end, teenage boys from the Hitler Youth and even women. These crews faced incredibly high casualty rates, especially as Allied air superiority became overwhelming. They were constantly under attack from fighter bombers, and their exposed positions made them prime targets. As Allied bombing raids intensified, Germany turned to a new monumental form of defense: the flak towers. These were colossal, reinforced concrete structures built in major cities like Berlin, Hamburg, and Vienna. Designed to be indestructible, these multi-story fortresses served as both command centers and massive gun platforms. Their top floors bristled with an array of weaponry, with the heavy 128mm cannons, but often complemented by multiple 88s and smaller rapid-fire cannons. These towers became the last bastions of defense in the final, desperate battles for these cities. As Soviet and Allied ground forces closed in, the guns on the flak towers were lowered, turning them into formidable anti-tank fortresses that held out for days, representing the final defiant stand of the Third Reich, from its origins as an anti-aircraft gun to its legendary status as a tank killer and its final role defending Germany's cities. The 88mm cannon was undeniably one of the most versatile, effective, and feared weapons of World War II. Its advanced design and powerful performance left a lasting mark on military history and influenced artillery and tank gun development for decades to come. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the story of the legendary AT-AT. What other iconic pieces of military technology would you like to see us cover? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. We'll see you in the next one.